in your money, you may be wondering how the prospect of rising interest rates in the future may affect your investments. Joining me is Jeffrey Massey, a certified financial planner professional, to discuss the likelihood of rising interest rates. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the federal government is kind of doing their best to try and keep interest rates low, and they've introduced the QE2, which is actually the qualitative easing 2. What exactly is that, and what does it do?
Well, the QE2 was intended to keep the interest rates low. Now, the lower interest rate environment, which is currently between, the overnight lending rate is between 0 and a quarter of 1% at the federal level. Now, that was done to entice businesses to buy equipment or improve their businesses in other ways, buy vehicles, etc. All of this should lead to increased hiring of people, the creation of jobs. That was the whole point of the QE2 process, was to increase jobs, get people off the unemployment roll. So obviously, more people getting back to work, that's good news, especially for those people who now have a job.
That's great news. So do you think they're going to stop there, or do you see a QE3 in the future?
Well, although it's been talked about and bantered around in the media, the Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke seems to be content with ending with QE2. Recent comments made at the Fed meeting leads us to believe that this will be it.
All right.
Yeah.
And in terms of pumping money into the economy, what is meant by that?
Well, and we do hear that in the media a lot about pumping money into the market. What's been going on, the federal government has been printing money and buying their own bonds. Now, they're doing that to keep the market up for bonds, keeping the prices higher. Well, when QE2 ends, they're going to stop the purchase of government bonds. That's going to reduce the demand, and so that'll bring prices down. Add
Always
to
a
that,
plus.
well, yes and no, because what's going to happen, add to that, Japan may start selling U.S. bonds that they own to fund disaster relief, also reducing demand. Well, what that's going to do is force the government to increase the yield on future bond offerings, which means prices will come up.
All right. And do you think the expected impact on interest rates, with all these issues considered, what do you expect?
Well, as we look at all that, it can't help but make the interest rates rise, because if the yield has to go up, well, that's going to make everything else go up. A rising tide raises all boats, as they say. The big concern that I have is for bondholders, because bonds move opposite in value to interest rates. As interest rates go up, bond values come down. So that could be the next bubble to burst in the stock market. So bondholders, beware of rising interest rates.
So what would you say to bondholders?
Just be cautious and watch the interest rate market, and as that rises, it might be time to reposition your assets.
All right. Jeff, thank you so much, as always.
Always a pleasure.
For more information from Massey & Associates, head to foxprovidence.com.